Hey guys, so I'm here to do my February wrap-up. I participated in the BookTube games in February, and I just so happened to be a part of the winning team, Camp Half-Blood for the win. I read 10 whole books. I read 10 whole books, but I read 11 books and DNF'd one. So, you'll see which book I DNF'd. The answer will probably surprise you. Because a lot of people like the book that I DNF'd, but I just couldn't get into it. But anyway, I'm not going to spend too long with this introduction because you guys know the name of the game with wrap-ups. I'm just going to tell you about the books that I read. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So first I did a buddy read of What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera with Graham Quigley. And that was really cool. I loved hearing his thoughts. I introduced him to Hamilton through this book because they listened to Hamilton. And I was like, hey, you should listen to Hamilton. And he was like, oh, okay, I will. So he did. And I was like, yep, it's great, isn't it? So anyway, this book is about these two guys who meet at the post office. And it's kind of like Love at First Sight, but not really. Because it's love at first sight to the point where one of the guys is trying desperately to find the guy that he met at the post office, but he doesn't have his name, so he has to do some stalkery things to find him. And it just documents their relationship and stuff like that. It's a pretty neat contemporary. In the grand scheme of things, though, it's probably my least favorite Adam Silvera book. It just doesn't have that sad Adam Silvera tone to it. It's not sad enough for Adam Silvera. So it was actually, this was the first thing I read by Adam Silvera. But I read two things by him afterwards, and those I thought were better than this. But I thought it was still good, and I still really liked Becky Albertalli's part too. Becky Albertalli's was pretty Becky Albertalli and I think I liked this her writing in this book more than I liked Leah on the Offbeat. I don't think I liked it more than Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda though. But anyway, I really like this book. I think I gave it 5 stars, and it's what I do. So it's What If It's Us. Next, I read They Both Die at the End, which is my favorite Adam Silvera book. I've also read another book that I will get into, but this one is ultimately my favorite. It's about these two guys who are called and told that they have 24 hours left to live. They meet on this app called Last Friend, which is where you can find other people that are dying, and they just have a great day before they die. And I don't know, I just really liked it. It was my first solo Adam Silvera book. Maybe that's why I liked it more. But yeah, I also gave this book 5 stars. Next, I read At the Edge of the Universe by Sean David Hutchinson. And I really like this book too. I might start to sound like a broken record here. But don't worry, there is some tea to spill in a couple of books, so bear with me. This book is about Ozzy, who is the only person who remembers his boyfriend Tommy, and he's also the only person who realizes that the universe is shrinking. And it's just basically this sci-fi-esque, also but contemporary-esque. It's a contemporary sci-fi thing, and it just is him trying to not save the universe. He's not trying to, he's trying to get people to realize that the universe is shrinking and that Tommy existed. So it was pretty good. I really liked Sean David Hutchinson's writing, and this book got me really excited to read more of his books. So I call it a win. Next, I read a book that I haven't actually seen very many positive reviews of, and I liked it. This is kind of an epic love story. I thought it was pretty well written. I thought this book was your standard contemporary, and I thought it was pretty good. It was nothing groundbreaking, but I don't think it deserves as much of a bad rap as it gets, at least in the corners of BookTube that I've seen. It's about this guy who, his old best friend moves back into town, and he had a crush on his best friend, and so, like, now it's like, what do you do? And it's just like a little, like, contemporary about him trying to figure out if him and his best friend are gonna get together or not. Yeah, that's the plot. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I think it's pretty good. There's a deaf character in it, and I personally think the deaf representation was pretty good. I'm not deaf myself, so I can't really speak to how good it is, but I didn't feel like it handled it badly, so I don't know, y'all. I liked it. I gave it 5 stars, and what else can you do? Next, I read Little and Lion, and I also really liked this book. With the exception of They Both Die at the End, out of all of the books I've mentioned thus far, this one is one of my favorites. And so it's about this girl who is bisexual, and her brother has bipolar disorder. And she comes home from boarding school for the summer, and she, like, meets up with one of her old friends and realizes, like, hey, she kind of likes him. But then she also meets this girl that she really likes too. But then her brother meets this girl, and he also likes her. So there's like a little drama, but there's also, like, the fact that he has bipolar disorder, and, like, he's learning to live with it. He's been put on medication and, like, stuff like that. I personally don't have bipolar disorder, but I do have depression and anxiety. So I get kind of where it's coming from. Not completely, obviously, but, like, kind of. And honestly, I thought the representation was pretty good. And, like, I haven't read a lot of books with, like, this good of representation for mental illness. So, like, I really appreciated what it was trying to do. See, I thought this book was pretty great, and I gave it 5 stars as well. Now, guys, you've probably gotten sick and tired of hearing me say, I really like this book, and I gave it 5 stars. Well, let's talk about a book I did not like and did not finish. It's the 5th season. So when I say I didn't like this book, I didn't like the fact that it was written in second person for most of the time. I thought the plot was, like, pretty original and, like, pretty cool. I did not like the fact that it was like, hey, here's this thing, you should know what it means. I was like, I don't know what that means, because it's a new thing. It didn't explain things very well, and I didn't like that. And then, like I said, most of the book is written in second person, which, why? So I got to page, like, 50, and I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, 5th season. Not gonna finish you, not gonna finish the series. I know it's supposedly really good. I just can't handle second person, so I DNF'd it. Another book that I read is The Secret History. Finally got around to reading this book after being told I would like it because it's about classic students and murder, and it's a modern classic, so, like, obviously I would probably like it. And I did like it. I actually ended up giving it 4 stars, not 5, because I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to like it. And in comparison to the other books that I read, it just wasn't as good to me. This book is about, as I said, classic students and murder. Basically, this isn't a spoiler because it's mentioned in the prologue. This group of classic students murder their friend, and it's about, like, what happens to get them to murder their friend, and then what happens after they murder their friend. And it's pretty good. I definitely enjoyed the section of afterwards a lot more than I enjoyed the before section. I knew it was gonna happen, so, like, I kept waiting for that to happen, and I just found, I didn't find myself getting bored necessarily. I was just like, okay, when's the murder gonna happen? When's the murder gonna happen? And then I had to read, like, it's, like, quite a bit of pages, like 100, maybe more pages before you get to the murder. But I did enjoy it, and the characters are all deplorable, but like, you know, it's not quite all for the game where like the characters are like assholes, but you love them. It's more like the characters are assholes, and you can see kind of where they were coming from, but you still definitely think they're assholes, and you don't really love them. So, here you go. I gave it 4 stars, and, you know, I don't love it as much as a lot of people do, but I still enjoyed it. Then I read More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. So More Happy Than Not is about this guy named Aaron whose dad commits suicide, and he has to deal with that, and he has to deal with like the depression that comes with it. He's like just trying to find happiness, and there's a procedure at the Lateo, I think is how you say it. I'm not quite sure. But it's an institute that like specializes in erasing memories. So like it doesn't completely erase anything, it just buries the memories so you don't remember them, and it's supposed to make your life better. And so he has to like decide whether or not he wants this procedure and like what that would mean for him, and it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There's a really good plot twist in this book. Like, it's fantastic. You did not see it coming. And I gave this book 5 stars, so yeah. Next, I read a graphic novel called Bloom, and look at this artwork. Isn't it? It's great. Okay, so, it's about this guy named Ari, who is in a band, and he works at his family bakery, and he doesn't want to work at his family bakery after he graduates high school. So he finds a replacement. His name is Hector, and Hector loves baking. So basically, Hector and Ari just work at the bakery, and Ari like goes out with his friends and like in the band, and like, you know, it's just it's real cute. It's like contemporary, and so yeah, like. It's about, like, what you want to do after high school and, like, feeling a little lost, maybe, and, like, stuff like that. There's also a little bit of a romance, obviously. So, anyway, it's real cute. I really enjoyed it, like, so much. Like, I've only read 2 graphic novels. I've read this and I've read Check Please, and they've both been amazing. So, like, I want to read some more cute graphic novels, but they're expensive for what they are. I was very impressed by this because this is a very big graphic novel. But anyway, so definitely check this out if you want like cute graphic novels. I gave it 5 stars, and what more can I say? I've been saying this was my favorite book of the month, but I don't know if it was my favorite book of the month because, like, honestly, all of the books I read were great except for like the 5th season. But anyway, I have a review for this book up already, and it is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. It's about this guy named Dino who works in his family's funeral home, and his best friend July, his ex-best friend July, dies and then comes back to life as like a zombie, but not like a brain-eating zombie, just as a person who is no longer living but is alive. And it's about, like, them trying to figure out, like, why their friendship, like, stopped working, and it's a good book about friendship. It's a good friendship book, with a hint of, like, the supernatural because of the zombie thing. So, I thought it was great, and I gave it 5 stars, because, like I said, it was maybe my favorite book of the month, but I'm not completely sure. But it's definitely up there. And then finally, I read The Gilded Wolfs. And so this book is basically like 6 of Crows, wherein there is a heist. But it is not like 6 of Crows in the sense that there are no Grisha. There is magic. There is like people who can like forge items magically. Like they can like just make cool ass objects. it's set in Paris in 1889. But it doesn't really feel like 1889 because there is a lot of like technologies and stuff because of the forging that like are really like pretty advanced technologies. And I think that's really cool. It kind of makes it feel a little timeless, even though it's supposed to be set in 1889. I don't know. I liked it. Some people thought it was confusing. I liked it. But anyway, it's about like this group of friends who are trying to pull off a heist because there's like this group of like, it's basically kind of like the Illuminati. And they're like the protectors of these like the Tower of Babel fragments that like provide the magic for people to forge things. And so there's a heist. It's great. And if you like Six of Crows, I definitely think you should check this out because it's similar enough that you'll like it, but it's not similar enough to where you'll think it's like a complete ripoff of it. And I've seen people say that it's like a complete ripoff of Six of Crows, and it's not. So, yeah. I gave it 5 stars. That's what I read in February. This video has probably been super long. Right now it's 25 minutes. Hopefully it will not be 25 minutes when I upload it. But that is what I read in February, and in March I have already read 2 books. I'm working on the 3rd, and I'm rereading my faves. If you didn't know, I've already read The Song of Achilles, already read The Foxhole Court. I'm working on The Raven King. After that I'll read The King's Men, then I'll read all of the Raven Cycle, then I'll read Six of Crows. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.